everyone, my name is Shelley from Shelley's Indoor Jungle, and today I'm going to be talking about the top 4 plants I recommend for beginners. They are plants that thrive on neglect, and they are, take note, Pothos, Zizi Plants, Dracaenas, and snake plants. They are perfect for you if you are just starting off with your plant journey. So I'm gonna take you through all of them, and I'm gonna explain to you what they need, but they are pretty much similar. As you can see, I have a lot of them. You might think they are all different plants, but actually there are only 4 species of plants here. And I have them all around the house because I'm telling you, they are so easy to take care of that you have to have so many of them. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start off with Zizi Plants. Let's move everything a little bit out of the way. Okay, so I actually have 3 Zizi Plants. Let's put this guy next to me. So Zizi Plants come in 3 types, I believe. So we have the normal Zizi plant, which has this dark green foliage. We have Raven Zizis, which are my absolute favorite. They have black mature leaves, and the newer leaves come out this gorgeous lime color. And then there are the variegated Zizis, which are obviously a little pricey. I don't have that one. So I actually have 2 Raven Zizis because I love them that much. Zizi plants are excellent because they can handle all types of light. So if you place them next to a window, if you place them far away from a window in lower light, they will do just fine. But keep in mind that if plants are not in bright light, they are in low light, they will not have any new growth. So, for example, this guy has all this new growth, and you can tell that it's new growth because of the color. It's lime green. This guy is next to a window, and he gets loads of bright light. Always remember that light is practically the #1 food source for plants. Now this one has only 1 new stem because he's in moderate light. He's a few feet away from the window. Now this guy, he grew a lot for me, so I don't need him to grow more, because as you can see, as they start to grow, they kind of get really wide, and if you don't have a lot of space in your house, you don't want them to get much bigger than this. So I put this guy in low light. There's no new growth at the bottom, but look at him. He's so gorgeous. He'll exist. He'll survive in lower light. He just won't thrive. He won't grow. So that's lighting. With regards to watering, basically these guys have really thick roots, and they have rhizomes which store a lot of water. So they do not need to be watered often at all. Even their leaves are quite succulent, they store water. So I let mine dry out completely. Again, you need to always be careful, because if a plant is in a really hot area and really bright light, the soil is going to dry out much quicker than if it's in low light. But generally, as a rule of thumb, I don't really water these guys more than maybe once a month. That's how rare they need to be watered. So that's it about Zizi plants. Totally don't mind my paper, you guys. I just have to have my notes, otherwise I will totally digress. Okay, let's just hide that. Okay, so let's move on to snake plants. Alright, so snake plants are another one of my favorites. There are so many to collect, first of all. They come in like a lot of different shapes and sizes. Like, for example, this one is just so cool. It doesn't even look like a plant almost. It's a braided Sansevieria cylindrica. It's really cool. They have these like really succulent leaves that store water, and they can tolerate all types of light. They can even tolerate direct light. I've seen them out in the sun, and they grow fine, and they can tolerate completely low light. So they're just really good to have, like, to place anywhere in the house. Just a little note, some snake plants have been reclassified as Dracaenas. I believe the Masoniana, the Whale Princess de Veria, the Moonshine might have been reclassified as a Dracaena. Just for you guys to know, you can do a little further research on that, but just for the sake of this video, just because they look similar, let's stick to snake. Let's call everything snake plants. Now, I want to show you guys something super duper cool. So I have these snake plants growing in a vase of water. They've been in here for 10 months. And check this out. This is really, really cool. Let's try not to break anything. So, after a couple of months, they started forming roots. And then it actually started growing pups, which is really cool. They have no soil, nothing. They're just sitting in water. I find that really, really impressive, man. Nature is so cool and adaptable. I will definitely speak to you guys about propagation in another video because there's a lot to say about it. But I just wanted to show you that because I think it's really, really cool. So yeah, that's pretty much it about snake plants. They can handle all types of light. They will thrive on neglect. Do not water them often at all, otherwise they will rot. We're halfway through the video. If you're liking it so far, feel free to subscribe and let me know in the comments what other plant tips or plant videos you want to see. So we're gonna move on to Dracaenas now. Another super easy plant. I really don't water this guy often at all, like maybe once a month. I kind of forget him, poor guy. He's really cute. It's just, he's in a dark corner and he just exists, poor guy. He's actually grown a little bit, which is quite surprising since he's in such a low light area. I do want to emphasize that low light does not mean zero light. A plant will not survive if it's in a dark room with no windows at all. Low light means low light. It does not mean complete darkness. And another thing, not all plants will survive in low light. Most plants do need more light to even just live. They might die if they don't have enough light. But this guy won't. He will be just fine. He might not grow that much, but he'll be fine. Something to note with these plants, like with all plants, you should never water with tap water because it's usually hard with a lot of minerals. This guy in particular tends to get very crispy leaves if the water is hard. So ideally you use AC water, rainwater, dehumidifier water. Distilled or fertilized water is not the best because when you fertilize water, you're removing good minerals as well as bad minerals. So it will be a bit devoid of the good minerals. So ideally it's like rainwater, AC water, these kind of things. Again, so not a lot of light, not too much water, and this guy will do just fine. They also come in a lot of different sizes, so they're perfect for like desks if you're in an office with not a lot of light. And now we're gonna move on to the last one, which is Pothos. So Pothos is probably out of the 4 plants that I'm talking about, this more finicky one, but I mean like 1% more finicky only. They're still very forgiving plants. They are tolerant to low light, but keep in mind that if these plants don't get a lot of light, they'll still kind of keep growing. They'll just start growing really leggy. So the stems will become long, there will be a lot of space between each leaves, and the leaves will grow small. So I would say, just to keep this looking as nice as possible, these I would tend to give them at least moderate to bright light. This is why this guy is so bushy and the leaves are so close together, because I give him good light. There are a lot of different types. Like this is my favorite kind of Pothos. It's so gorgeous. The color is like a neon. It's so beautiful, and it gets these like splashes of variegation, which is really, really beautiful. You can totally let them trail to one side. If you want them to trail to one side, just never rotate them, because otherwise if you rotate your plants, it will kind of grow evenly. But if you never rotate it, it will just grow to one side, which is what I want with this one. You do not need to water them often at all. These plants will actually speak to you when they're really thirsty. They'll kind of like droop a lot. You'll just see it looking a little sad. In fact, this guy, I watered him yesterday because he was looking quite sad, and I think he still hasn't completely fully recovered, but he's already looking much better. Now, just a note on all the plants that I mentioned, none of them are pet friendly. Like they are all slightly or quite a bit toxic to pets. So definitely keep that in mind if you have pets. Like keep them somewhere a little high where the pets can't reach them. None of them are susceptible to pests. I'm not saying they will never get any pests, but so far I've had quite a few issues in the past with pests, and none of these have ever gotten pests for me. And they are not particularly fussy about humidity. There are a lot of plants that will really like dry up and crisp up if they're in the AC or if they're close to a heater and the air is really, really dry. These plants don't really mind. So I tend to keep these in rooms where I know I'm constantly using the AC. Like I work a lot in this study here, so I have the Pothos in here and the Zizi Plants. So these plants do not need that much humidity. So I think that's it for this video. I'm definitely going to put up more videos talking individually about plants and having a bit of a deeper dive into them. And definitely in the comments let me know if you found this video informative and what more you want me to talk about. Have a good day, guys. Bye! About my top 4 plants. Start again. Whatever. Digress.
You didn't use it properly.
I digress. I digress.
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 Use a different
I
word.
digress.
don't think that's
I digress means you go off topic. Let's move on to snake plants.